can y'all say that this is y'all land and y'all was here first and y'all brought us here when y'all did not exist until 1681? Please explain that to me. Oh, you don't believe me? Roll the clip. Roll the clip. Check.
White people did not exist before 1681. Again, white people did not exist on planet Earth.
The amount of foolishness that you and I are exposed to on a daily basis, just being a human being in the year of our Lord 2025, is it's worthy of some sort of award. There has to be something that we get out of all of this because okay. You know what? Today I'm just going to go ahead and go along with the foolishness, right? Since we're already this deep into it. All right, so white people did not exist until 1681. Then, dear white people who now exist post 1681, you are all now absolved of everything that happened prior to 1681 that was attributed to quote unquote white people, white supremacy, etc. You're welcome. There is your reward. I'm still waiting for mine. I wonder if I'm going to get some out of this. But you, if you are classified and seen as white, you actually didn't exist. That the white liberal woman said it. She said it. Therefore, it has to be true. The Queen of Wakanda, she told you, white people, this is not every slavery. Because you know how they have the 1916 or no, 1619 project? Y'all absolved, right? They say that because the first slaves came. That wasn't you. I know it wasn't you to begin with, obviously, but no, it really wasn't you now. It wasn't your ancestors because you don't have any ancestors before 1681. You have nobody that existed in your entire lineage. You just got here, smack dab dropped on the planet. Google Gaga. You're a baby to this species. So you've got that, all the colonizer labels that have been thrown on you, all of that absolved, gone. So technically it was the other people who created slavery, and they taught you slavery. They taught you how to colonize. They taught you how to genocide a people on the land. They taught you that. You didn't just come up with that. You just got here. So I think today is maybe a day of celebration. I think hidden in all of this is a true silver lining. Wow, let us continue to be educated by this woman who has no lineage before 1681.
Until 1681. Number two, any claim that this group called white people, any claim that group is rooted in biology or derived from genes or biology or is innate or is from nature is a lie.
Wow. We have our first white black supremacist. Like y'all know Clayton Bigsby. If you don't know, go ahead and find out on your own time. Clayton Bigsby. The first black white supremacist. We officially have the first white black supremacist. Never would I ever have imagined would be here today. Now, I want to break down just a few things when it comes to this. And I think the most obvious, the first one to be addressed, is the blatant racism in any of these statements, right? It is rooted in what they call erasure theory. I'm going to use their own terminology and their own sort of ideology, right? You have an erasure of a people, which in other words is erasing your existence. That's what they're doing. Right? In the same way that the little mustache man and his regime look to erase a people, that's essentially what's taking place here. Not acknowledging your history, the same thing that you have been blamed of for God knows how long by the left, is now exactly what they are doing. You guys didn't exist. But in that, ironically enough, they find themselves in a catch-22 situation. Because if you erase white people prior to 1680, whatever it is, you no longer have your narrative of white supremacy being the cause of what we now know as, I guess just terrible Western civilization that has afforded us nothing besides, basically every single thing that we currently enjoy, every convenience of life. Fact that we don't have to think twice about food sources and clean water and medication. But besides that, Western society absolutely sucks, right? It's basically given us nothing else besides everything that has allowed us to live the lives that we live in modern day, right? White people didn't exist. Therefore, all of this stuff was actually the byproduct. I'm talking about, the slaughtering of people, the capturing of land, slavery, forced servitude, and things of that nature. All of that was pre-white history, which means, and if we're going to go back to this theory of black people or the original peoples, whatever that means, right? Technically speaking, they would be the creators of every atrocity and every evil. See, I just so happen to believe that we're created beings. I happen to believe that we have the propensity for good as well as evil, and we make the choices at an individual level. I happen to believe that I don't know much of human history because I wasn't there. I can only make assumptions. But one thing I know for a fact is that right there is straight up black supremacy. Simple. It's the very same thing that they accuse white people of being and doing on a daily basis through a megaphone. If there was a white woman who recorded a video in present time stating that black people did not exist prior to whatever given date, do you know the uproar? That there is nothing in the actual genome. Really, white people don't even exist. There are ideologies such as what the Nation of Islam holds, which is that there is this being, entity, whatever, this evil scientist named Yaqub, and he essentially created white people. I might have to do a whole video on this nonsense. And this is perpetuated by the 5%ers, is perpetuated by the Nation of Islam, etc. Right? Like Islam itself doesn't have its own issues. Now you have the Nation of Islam saying, well, actually, all white people came from this evil scientist that created an evil race, etc. If that same ideology was carried in any mainstream religion on the other side, that group would probably be labeled as not only a cult, but it would be labeled as some sort of global threat, terroristic white supremacist organization in the likes of a KK and the other K. Brought to you by the Democratic Party. So yeah, that's the point I wanted to make there. And then I wanted to get to the source of this, because as you see, it is a middle-aged, elderly, white, liberal women. I believe that they are one of the most dangerous messengers that has been sent by Beelzebub, they themselves. This is a devil spawn. The reason I say that is because they're responsible for the minds of people. And like, she's a professor, I'm guessing, right? It's the reason why probably anybody's listening to her. As a professor, she's responsible to educate, right? I believe that teacher's role is not to tell you what to think, but to essentially teach you how to think for yourself. Problem solving, those sorts of things. This woman is blatantly instilling a mentality into both her white as well as black students. But again, whiteness doesn't exist technically in her head. It's a construct until, of course, it's not, because they're the racists who are the reason why your life is miserable, terrible. You can do nothing and essentially be nothing, right? Until then, obviously, it doesn't exist. She's supposed to be responsible for telling the truth, or at least creating an environment where you can explore and find the truth for yourself. But instead what she is doing is she's indoctrinating. And they've been doing this since the plantation. That's why we refer to it as the Democratic Plantation. It is not just a place of shackles, but it's a place of ideological shackles. It's not just the physical, but it's the mental and emotional. It's the psychology that is ingrained and instilled into you as you are conditioned into servitude and slavery. A man is free until he believes himself to be a slave. That's how I view it. It is only when you accept that you are that you become. And therefore, these people continue to keep the very same narrative that continues to keep black folk and other POCs and whoever else they bring into the group, the alphabet people, etc. They are creating a fully functional plantation where the masters and the slaves are now the same people. They're keeping themselves on the plantation. I know we got a little deep today. You know, there could have been more keys in this one, but that's where I'm at with this one. I think it is more serious than we oftentimes give it any credit for. It's funny, yes. It's moronic, yes. It's smooth-brained, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. But what it is more than anything else is it is dangerous. It's like, that's why I don't play when it comes to genuine anti-Semitism. We're not talking about, criticizing Netanyahu, criticizing governments, establishments. No. We're talking about is propaganda that pushes hatred that is unfounded, and that hatred is perpetuated, it is justified, and it leads to atrocities. That's what we're currently witnessing. Go ahead and check on South Africa and see what's going on there. So I pray that you continue to think for your damn self. That's what I wish for you. And for this level of foolishness right here to never meet you. They say, like, I pray this type of love never finds me. I pray this level of stupidity and brainwashing never finds you. Or your children and your children's children. That's what I wish for you and your lineage. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there. Or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. But I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking a 3-6-5, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.